This is Texans TV.
Coming up, the Texans now know their 2020 schedule, and they're starting things off with a bang.
Today is one of those days on the NFL calendar that everybody looks forward to.
This is Texans 360.
We are ready to rock in Houston. Rock and roll, touchdown, Texans.
Hello. It's so great to see you. Yes, you're the one I'm talking to. This is Texans 360. My name's Drew Dougherty, coming at you from my living room here in Houston, Texas, and we've got quite a show for you. We're going to do a Dear Drew. We're going to find out a little bit more about some undrafted rookies that you might not know too much about, but you need to. And Justin Reid was recently honored with a pretty prestigious award. But we start things off with the news of the week. And the Texans, as well as the rest of the NFL, know their 2020 schedule, and they are starting things off in a big way. On Thursday Night Football, Week 1 at the Kansas City Chiefs. They're going to face the Super Bowl champs in their building, and they're going back there for the third time in 365 days. Now, they will open the home slate in Week 2 against the Baltimore Ravens, so they're getting tested right out of the gate in those first 2 weeks. And another note from 2020, they get to go back to Detroit for Thanksgiving. They're going to play that early contest on Thanksgiving Day against the Detroit Lions. You remember in 2012, the Texans were victorious there in overtime. That win pushed them to 10-1 in that season. All right, but we're going to talk more about it. We're going to get the head coaches and the GM's thoughts all in one. So here is a one-on-one with Bill O'Brien. We do know this slate of games, but we also know that we got to be prepared perhaps to be flexible because of what's going on in the world, don't we?
There's no doubt about it. I think, all of us within our own homes right now, we're seeing what's going on around the world. And, look, at the end of the day, there will be football played. Football will be played. When that is played, we'll have to see how that goes. But right now we're on schedule to have a season. And I know that the McNairs and the Houston Texans organization is going to take every precaution necessary to make sure that people are safe, players are safe, coaches are safe, everybody involved in the organization, and obviously to the great fans of the Houston Texans that we're safe too. So, we're looking forward to the day when the season begins, but, just really important to take it one day at a time and take the right steps necessary to ensure everybody's safety and health.
No doubt. And when the season begins, it begins in a big way in prime time, Thursday Night Football. It's the first game of the entire NFL schedule. It's against the reigning Super Bowl champions. How exciting is that for you guys as a team, getting that challenge right out of the gate?
Without a doubt. Everybody wants to start off the season on national television, and we're able to do that. Playing a great opponent, obviously Super Bowl champions led by Andy Reid, and it's going to be a big challenge for us. Our guys looking forward to that.
You get to see Lamar Jackson and the Ravens at home. I know you love playing in front of the NRG Stadium faithful. What a two-step off the start of the season, though.
Yeah, tough two opponents to start the season with. They're all tough, right, Drew? But, I think coming back home to be able to play Baltimore, another great team, playoff team, great coaching staff. Like you said, Lamar Jackson, excellent players on that team. Going to be a great experience for us, a great opportunity for our players to be able to play in front of our hometown fans and play against a great opponent.
Now, I know you love your pecan pie on Thanksgiving Day, but you're going to get the Lions in the morning that time. What's it like playing on a holiday like that when the whole nation's going to be watching?
That's another great opportunity, just such an NFL tradition to be one of the teams to be able to play the Detroit Lions, who are always on Thanksgiving. Coached in that game before, and it's an exciting game to be a part of, and another really tough NFC North opponent, national TV game. That's what it's all about, right? Football and turkey on Thanksgiving, and we'll be a big part of that.
Yeah, and then in the month of December, 3 divisional games. You've got the Colts twice in 3 weeks, and you finish the entire season with the Titans at home. You like that, playing the AFC South a lot of times in the month of December?
And it seems like it's always that way. The NFL wants those rivalry games late in the year, and there's a lot on the line in those games, and we have a ton of respect for the teams in our division, and we'll be ready for those opportunities.
Bill O'Brien, we appreciate your time. We know how busy you are. Best of luck, and we hope to see you again very, very soon.
Thank you, Drew. Good to see you.
Houston and KC tangling for the third time, like we mentioned, in a year's span. And the last time they were there in the regular season, it was a Texans victory. One big reason why, Charles Omenihu's strip sack. He gets the film room treatment right here with me and John Harris. Big game, John.
Huge.
3-2, the Texans are. They go up to Kansas City. You got Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, and that offense of theirs, whoa, we saw what they could do later in the season, unfortunately, but you know they can light it up. And at this point in the game, it's the second quarter. The Texans are down 17-16. Deshaun Watson had just thrown a pick into the end zone, so it was 1st and 10 at the 20 with about 30 seconds and change remaining in the half. You know Mahomes and company want to get on the board,
yes,
get a field goal, get a touchdown, and you know they're capable of it. Doesn't take much. So you got to stop them. You need the long arm of the law. You need the long arms of Charles Omenihu to help you out here.
Plastic man. He's got arms for days. There's a couple things about this before we get into it. First of all, you see the ball at the 20, and you mentioned the interception.
Yeah.
It was 4th down, and the Texans were back at about the 40-yard line. That's 20 yards of space, and that becomes important on this play because had Juan Thornhill knocked the ball down in the end zone, they would have the ball at the 40. They ended up with the ball at the 20, like you said, lower 30 seconds left. Patrick got antsy, and he held the ball longer than he probably would because he had to make up 20 yards of space, and they weren't able to do this because Charles Omenihu right here is going to make a heck of a play. So let's take a look at this and how this happened. Now, you can see Philip Gaines in this play. He tracks Mecole Hardman. When Hardman goes back the other way, they know it's man coverage. So Hardman knows, okay, this is man coverage, so going to clear out. So basically your man coverage across the board. Here's your bracket on Kelsey. There's safety going to cover, linebacker going to cover the back, which really doesn't matter. Pat ain't throwing that. And so you've got everybody pretty much taken care of. And then you got Charles Omenihu right here making the move to get to Patrick. And you can see Patrick, watch, he cocks his arm. Nothing there. I think he wanted Kelsey. But he pulls it back down. When he pulls it back down, the long arm of Chuck Omenihu gets him. And then Benardrick McKinney. We're going to look at those two aspects. Good coverage downfield. Let's look at the rush here because there's a couple things here that really stood out to me. Number one, when you're thinking about 2020, Whitney Merciless, Charles Omenihu, J.J. Watt, Jacob Martin.
All coming back. They're all under contract.
They're all coming back, and that's probably your best four-man rush.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the Chiefs are going to run a little trap pass, so they're going to pull Martise Rankin here, and essentially they're going to create what they want is a double on Omenihu with the center Ryder and Laurent Duvernay-Tardif. But Charles does a good job of recognition here because he knows Rankin's gone. He kind of works that side of Reader. He works this side, not a DJ Reader, Austin Reader.
Right.
He kind of works that side knowing, hey, there's a big void here. So to avoid that double team, he works this side as a really, really nice job. Now you can see Tardif comes over, but really isn't going to help on a double team because Chuck is just going to work through that outside elbow, and then you can see that right hand right on the right elbow right there, shoves him down, and then go get him. Look at that.
Got it.
Man, that's awesome. Then the fun begins.
Good fight here by McKinney.
Here's Benardrick right there. There's a chief. There's a chief. Everywhere, chief. There are four hands. Now, if you look at that and said, all right, who's going to get the ball? Benardrick McKinney comes out of here with the ball, and I don't know how. There's one long Benardrick McKinney arm that reaches in there and somehow snatches it out of there. I don't know how. But you see the ball right there at the 3-yard line. Next play, Deshaun Watson goes in. Go in at halftime, 23-17. End up winning that game, 31-24. That, Drew, was huge by the rookie.
After the break, we know about some of the guys the Texans have drafted. We're going to tell you about some of the undrafted rookies. It's all next on Texans 360.
Yes, sir. Ross Blacklock right here, man, checking in. Just want to say thank you for the Texas organization for believing in me, giving me a chance. I'm excited to get to work, put on for the city of Houston. The moment is so surreal. Just want to say thank you for everybody that's been with me on this journey. We got a long way to go, but I'm excited. I'm ready to start this new chapter in my life. So thank you all. See you soon. Peace.
Houston. Y'all got a hell of a player. I'm excited to be there. I'm excited to be a part of this great organization, learn from a lot of veterans and guys who've been a part of this league and who've been very successful in this league. And when this thing passes over, it's going to be on and popping.
Hey everyone, this is Charlie Heck. I'm so excited to be a Texan. Can't wait to get up to Houston and start working my tail off. Stay safe and go Texans.
Hey, what's up, Houston Nation? This is John Reed. I can't wait to get down there in Houston and get to work. I'm really excited.
H-Town, how y'all doing? This is Isaiah Carlton. I'm excited to be a Texan and get down there and get to work.
The rookies still riding that high after getting picked by the Texans. Those are the 5 who were selected on draft weekend by Houston, and there's also some undrafted free agents. You can learn about all of them on HoustonTexans.com. We're breaking down what they've done on the field, who they are off the field, and for a little bit more about some of the guys who were not drafted by the Texans, our very own John Harris has this analysis.
2020 NFL Draft is in the books, and the Texans added 5 rookies to the ledger through the draft process. Now, that wasn't all they did over the weekend. They also added 9 undrafted college free agents to the roster. And it starts with one of the bigger guys you're going to find anywhere. His nickname is Big Z, Zoya Alafoye. Hopefully I did that well, Big Z. And they call him Big Z because he's 6'4", 322 pounds, and he's got 80-plus inch arms, and he throws guys around like throw pillows. And he's looking for an opportunity in the middle of this defensive line. And then you go to offensive guard Cordell Iguagu from out of TCU. Now, he, like Ross Blacklock, played his high school football here in the Houston area at Westfield High School. Then they both went up to the Metroplex, going to TCU, and have come back here for professional football. He missed off 2018 with an injury, but came back in 2019 and was voted honorable mention All Big 12 for his work at offensive guard. Jan Johnson's a linebacker out of Penn State, linebacker U. He had 64 tackles last year, 4.5 for a loss. He was a team captain, of course, and he was a semifinalist for an award called the Burlsworth Trophy, given to the best walk-on or former walk-on in the country. Jan Johnson joins the linebacker roster, as does Jameer Jones from Notre Dame. And Jameer's interesting because I watched him, and I wasn't really looking to watch him. I watched Julian Okwara and Khalid Kareem from Notre Dame, and every time I would watch, I would see number 44 kept making plays. I'm like, man, who is that guy? Somebody's going to get a pretty good player through the undrafted free agent process. Also added Scotty Phillips, running back from out of Ole Miss, who I can imagine would want to love to come to Houston. His best college game, over 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. Where that was? NRG Stadium. The Advocare, Texas kickoff against Texas Tech. Yeah, he knows all about NRG Stadium. Receiver and special teams demon Tyler Simmons. He made some great catches throughout his career as a receiver, but Tyler Simmons was maybe one of the better special teams guys in the entire country, whether it's downing kicks inside the 5, returning kicks, going down and making tackles on kicks. Tyler Simmons did a ton for the Georgia Bulldogs in the special teams. And that leads me to Dylan Stapleton from James Madison, 245-pound tight end. Dylan Stapleton had 35 receptions for 426 yards and a touchdown last year, but he's a blocker. He will get after it. No matter where he lines up on the field, he is willing to swap paint with a defensive lineman, defensive end, outside linebacker, inside linebacker, safety, whoever shows a different colored jersey. Dylan Stapleton is ready. Quarterback Nick Tiano from Tennessee Chattanooga, big guy, 6'4", about 230. And he threw for over 2,200 yards last year. He also ran for 384, a dual threat, Taysom Hill-like player, if you will, a guy that can do a little bit of everything, becomes a guy joining the 3 quarterbacks already on hand. And center, and I stress center, Alex Woodworth from North Texas, because when Alex was at North Texas, he started 45 of possible 48 games at guard or tackle. But when the release came out, it showed that he is going to move to the center position. That's 9 guys added to the roster through the undrafted free agent process. And look, these guys are looking for an opportunity. They're looking for a chance to get in the practice squad. Man, maybe get on that 53 or 55-man roster. Now, there have been some in the Texans' history that have done it. Can any of these guys follow in their footsteps? Boy, it'd be great if they could. But they're just looking to come to camp and compete and show what they can do as an undrafted free agent.
When we return, Justin Reed is honored for his play on the field through an injury and a whole lot more. It's all next on Texans 360. Drew Dougherty with you as Texans 360 rolls on. And, during the week of practice, the quarterbacks always wear a red jersey. That means the defense needs to stay away from them, not touch them, not hurt them, because they want to keep them clean. Justin Reed had to wear a red jersey during practice all season long last year because he was battling a serious shoulder injury. Well, it didn't matter, and you wouldn't have known it when you saw him play on Sundays because he was excellent. And for all of that and a whole lot more, Reed was the Texans nominee for the Ed Block Courage Award.
Despite battling through wrist and shoulder injuries over his 2 seasons, Justin Reed has missed just 1 career game. His toughness and team-first attitude resulted in his nomination as the Texans' Courage Award recipient for 2019. Reed's extensive work in the community includes working with the Big Brothers Big Sisters of Houston to provide meals to families in need during Thanksgiving, Candlelighters of Houston, and the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Houston.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Justin Reed, safety for the Houston Texans here. Just want to take a moment to really express my gratitude to the Ed Block Courage Award Foundation for all their awesome work in the community. I want to thank my teammates in the Houston Texans organization for voting me as a recipient for this prestigious award. It's an incredible feeling, and I feel extremely blessed and honored to be voted on by my peers, my teammates, to be a representation of hard work, overcoming adversity, and just doing good in the community through philanthropy, especially because it means so much to me to work with the next generation, with the youth, to really make an impact on their lives as a role model, to really just work hard, chase your dreams, and just be the best person that you can be. I want to give a quick shout out to my family, my parents, my brothers and my sister, for always being there for me in my childhood and today as well, to help shape me into the person that I am today. I couldn't have been here without them, and also without just the coaches and mentors and good special people in my life. They know who they are, that were always there for me growing up. So I feel blessed and honored. I wish we got to go and do the award ceremony in person, get to meet up with all the other guys across the league who also we're blessed to be able to get this award, but hopefully we'll be able to just catch up on that later. So stay safe out there, be blessed, and I appreciate you. Thank you.
Congratulations, Justin Reed.
In moments, you had questions, I have answers. It's all next on Texans 360. You just brought up something really key that Brandon Cooks actually was asked about last week in a media conference call via Zoom. He talked about the quarterbacks he's played with, Tom Brady, Drew Brees, and Jared Goff. And they asked him, do you see any similarities in Deshaun Watson that you've seen in some of those guys? Now, obviously, Brady and Brees, they're on a different plane than Goff, but it's 3 quality QBs. And he said, yeah, there's a lot that I see that's similar, and there's nothing that this guy can't do. There's no throw he can't make. It's really fascinating, the career arc of Brandon Cooks, in that he's played with the greats and really never had to kind of slug his way through a whole season with a quarterback who's not up to those standards.
He's been very fortunate because I've had to play with some interesting guys, and of course, many other guys that have played with some interesting guys. So he's been very blessed and favored as far as playing with Drew Brees first, then going to, I believe, the Patriots, and then playing with Jared Goff and playing with Tom Brady and all those guys. He's been very fortunate. He knows a lot and learned a lot from being around greats like that. Those guys are arguably the greatest in their position, right? You could argue a case with Drew Brees. You could argue a case, obviously, with Tom Brady, right? But for him to say that about Deshaun Watson is huge. And he's going to bring experience and knowledge to Deshaun. It's only going to make Deshaun better.
That's part of a longer conversation I had with former Texans receiver Cecil Shorts III. Check it out on HoustonTexans.com, the Texans mobile app. I talk with a former player every single week. I also talk with a current player as well. Jordan Akins is the one who's featured this time around. But we also take questions on the website. And I did this week in Dear Drew. Now, note, this was shot before the schedule was released. So not bad predicting, if I say so myself. On the site around 3:30, and then after that, it'll go up on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, I think. I don't know when exactly, but it's going to be coming. Top of that, we're going to have... Sometimes you have distractions when you work from home, huh? First question comes from Derwin Jordan. He wants to know, Dear Drew, will there be a new scheme under defensive coordinator Anthony Weaver? And no, there will not be a new scheme. There will be some new wrinkles. You bet on that. He's a different guy than Romeo Crennel. So there will be some new wrinkles that you'll see. There will be maybe some new pressures that come in, but not a wholesale change, not a wacky new defense under Anthony Weaver. But good question, Derwin, and good to hear from you, my friend. Jason McLeod has this. Dear Drew, how likely do you think it is that the Texans will play the Lions on Thanksgiving? You know, there's a really good chance of that happening. The schedule will get released on Thursday, but the Texans last played in Detroit on Thanksgiving Day in 2012, so they're slated to play them again. The Lions are supposed to have that CBS game, and so CBS typically carries the AFC road team, so there's a good chance that the Texans are going to be playing in Detroit on Thanksgiving Day. James Garcia, Dear Drew, greetings from the faraway land of San Antonio. With the schedule supposedly being released this week, it is getting released. It's getting released Thursday, 7 p.m. Central Time. What game are you most anxious to circle on your calendar? Well, you got to think the road game against the Chiefs. That's the biggest road game that they'll probably play, preseason-wise as far as the build-up goes. So that's one. And then anytime the Patriots come here, huge. That's a big one. Plus, I love the city of Chicago. I can't wait to go to Chicago. Texans are playing the Bears this year. So those are probably my three big ones. I can't wait to see those. And James, that was such a good question that we're going to give you some scratch off. So pretend to have a Houston Texans lottery scratch off right here and email us right here and say, hey, I'm the guy that won those scratch offs, and we'll send them your way. Boy, it's fun doing this from home. Can't wait to be back in the office doing it, but we hope you're doing great, and we'll see you again soon. We appreciate those questions coming in for Dear Drew, and I only answered 3 of them in that video, but I answer a whole lot more in an article called The Leftovers, so keep your eyes peeled on Tuesdays, Wednesdays on Facebook for the Dear Drew questionnaire. And we want you to make sure you're filling out everything questionnaire-wise as a Houston Texans fan, so use that QR code and scan it to find out more on the Houston Texans mobile app as well as ht.com. For the guys that made this show happen, like Tyler Marcotte, Tyler Suttard, Jay McDevitt, and Joe Pallas, I'm Drew Dougherty. We'll see you next time, and go Texans. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to know when we post new content.